What's going on, everyone? How's it going? Just sitting here watching the end of this game. Unfortunately, Tori's not feeling too good, so have to do the solo today. But wanted to make sure you guys had a stream for the end of this game, and also uh, to hopefully celebrate here in a few minutes. Um, on my screen, we just had Watford putting it in to give us a 12-point lead. How's everyone doing? I'm at work too, so if I have to leave for a few seconds, I'm sorry, but shouldn't be an issue. Good to have all of you here. Blazers get another stop. Watford running the break. Hopefully your streams are kind of close to mine. Brandon Williams just dribbling the ball up top. Gives it to Watford in the post. Swings it, Keon, wide open three. Short. Nick's coming back the other way. I'm good. How are you guys doing? Everyone hear me okay? Is the audio good? Watford again. Rip City Brady asked if I got some buckets on Connor and Smog. Yeah, a few of us met up for a little pickup basketball game yesterday. If you're ever interested in joining in the future, hit me up on either Discord or Twitter, and I'll put you on the list of people to contact. Yeah, gonna try to get some more runs going over the rest of the summer. Luckily, the weather was pretty good yesterday, like for playing basketball outside. Not too hot at all. Yeah, Watford's really having a good game. Carrying us. Looks like Jabari's checking back in too. Oh, look at that hustle. Great rebound. And the putback. Let's go. We're winning this thing. Oh, man. Huge play. Huge play. Man, it's hustle plays like that win ball games, man. Doing all the little things. Sims is going to try to attack Watford and turns the ball over. Nice steal by Brandon Williams getting in the passing lane. A little over 3 minutes left, up 14. Got to be feeling pretty good about this right now. Watford's going to try to break down Sims. Gets by him, lays it up. Nope, no good. Hunt back the other way. Didn't stop ball. Gets a lay-in. And have we seen Didi since... I was wondering why Randall's still in there, but I guess Didi wasn't playing well either, so doesn't really matter. Looks like we have a timeout on the floor, so I can get back to reading chat. Zach, we made the finals. Yes, Zach, we're in the championship. We had to have a lot of stuff go our way on the last day, but yeah. Yeah, if we win a couple more chips in the coming years, we can start a dynasty, right? Yeah, Alex, this game is for the rings. They actually get rings that look pretty legit. I don't know why they decided to give rings out for Summer League, but yeah, they give rings out now starting this year. So The Portland Trailblazers will get the first ring if they hold on to win this game. Um, yeah, key up all the Dame, the rookies and the young players all got a ring before Dame did. So yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. It seems like the team is excited about it. They were all up cheering the bench this whole game. It seems like they want this. But yeah, Iverson. Yeah, we could spin it that way too. Championship parade on Broadway. Let's do it. For those asking, Tori's not feeling well, so he's not feeling up to streaming right now. So hope he gets better soon. Oh, it looks like he's in chat. What's up, Tori? Um, great question by David Yu. Do you think our defensive performance here in Summer League will translate to the main team? Um, I don't think it'll necessarily translate because, most of these players won't be playing together, or if they are playing, it'll only be like one or two of them on the court at once. So it's not like this whole unit will be able to translate that defense. However, just seeing how good their rotations are, um, how like in sync the unit is, the different schemes on defense, and Hetzel was on ESPN doing an interview while coaching at the same time, and you could hear him like barking out instructions and stuff from the sidelines in between questions, and I like kind of the stuff he was saying, just like telling guys like when they need to switch and do all that kind of stuff. So to me, it's not necessarily that I think this will translate. I think it's more just that it gives me confidence that the coaching staff can at least put together a good defensive scheme in a short amount of time. And if you are able to do that, when you have a full training camp and now you have a full season for most of these guys with the Blazers to know like Chauncey's style and some of the assistant coaches' styles, I think when you put all that together, I think that shows you that we should be somewhat hopeful that the defense this year won't have some of the same scheme and effort and falling asleep issues that we've had in the recent years. That's been the main problem. And we all know that if you have a couple of really good defenders that are pestering and just giving a lot of energy out there, it usually feeds into other players, and the whole team feeds off that energy. So Knicks hit a 3 with 137 left to cut it to 11. Hopefully we can just weather the storm here. I think we have too big of a lead for them to win, but a game-sealing basket would be nice. This game got off to another rough start. Blazers had 9 turnovers in the first quarter, but still were right there. They had the lead for a while, and so Jabari gets called for a foul. He's asking for Coach Hetzel to review it. At this point, might as well. I don't know why you wouldn't, but it doesn't look like he's going to. Thank you, Brian Tadovich, for the $5 donation. I want Tori to answer too. LOL, is it wild to think Walker could start at the 3 for us? Get better, Tori. I don't think it's wild, but the way the roster's set up, I think we kind of need him to be more of a 4 than a 3. I think, yeah. I mean, would it shock me? No. But I just think we have too many veterans, and even though Walker has a size advantage over a lot of them. I think they really believe in Nas still if he's healthy. And so I think that's going to be. I think Nas is going to have the leg up on that. And if not, I still think Gary Payton or who's it? Hart obviously would both have an opportunity to get that spot over Walker, a rookie. So I think they're going to bring him along slow, but I wouldn't be surprised if he cracked the rotation. And that's something that, like I asked Reese. Reese was in Vegas the last few days watching Summer League, and I was like, if you see Chauncey, I want you to ask him a question. He didn't get a chance to, but I want to know from Chauncey, like, what his philosophy is on that. Like, do you just play the players that you think give you the best chance to win, or is there a little bit of, Keon turns it over in the backcourt and then fouls Grimes on a. They're gonna call it on the ground, but he was trying to throw up a three. Blazers up 9 with 49 seconds left. So yeah, I think he'll maybe earn the backup 4 spot, but I think they're gonna give it to other players and play small again at the 3. I wouldn't mind to see some experimentation though. And I still think that I don't know that this is kind of goes in line with my question for Chauncey. It's like, do you try to force minutes to develop a player like Shaden Sharp, or does he have to earn minutes, or how does that work if you have one player that has to earn minutes and one player that doesn't necessarily? But at the same time, when you have a player like Sharp who already sat out a year, I think he needs to get on the court playing. So, yeah, I feel like he needs to get some minutes at least. So you got to kind of force some minutes there too. But we'll see on that. All right, Portland's up 7 going to the free throw line. Hopefully Brandon Williams can hit these. He's had a much better game than the previous 4 this one. Makes the first one. Still looking good here. Second one good as well. So back up to a 9-point game with 37 seconds. Grimes misses a 3. New York gets the rebound, kicks it back out, misses another 3. Looks like they're maybe going to get the ball back again. But 16 seconds have gone off the clock. So not going to hurt us too much, but we need to get a rebound. So Knicks score, cut it to 6. Blazers back to the line. Just got to hit free throws at this point. All right, just no one was talking. All right. I just had Zach's message, same Bonnie LOL was like the last message for a long time. I was worried. Omaha Casey King says, "Go King Sacramento." Okay. They're not playing in this game, though. All right, B. Will hits both free throws. New York's going to use another timeout, down 8 with 13 seconds left. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, AJ Friday was crazy. We needed, I think it was like 6 or 7 different teams to either lose or not win by a certain amount, and we just happened to get all of it going. It's still a shame that they don't have at least some sort of tournament for all the teams that have like a 3-1 record or an undefeated record or whatever. And yeah, I don't understand why this was the first game of the night. Usually the championship is the last game. So I don't understand that either. And it's got to just be that ESPN wanted something for their midday coverage or something. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, the Pels did not screw us over this time. I was worried because that was the last game on Friday. I was very worried that that was going to be the outcome. Twice in the span of a few months. I don't know if they give an MVP. Well, they do for Summer League. I don't know if they'll announce it at the end of this game or not. But yeah, I'd say Watford is definitely the MVP of this game. Showing Asia Jones on screen as well. Grimes going to throw up another 3. Way off. Walker with another rebound. Blazers are going to get it across the timeline and run out the clock. They are Summer League champions. They should all dogpile and do some crazy celebration. Let's go, champions of something. Woohoo! Well, there you go, guys. We won a title. Nice to see them excited about it. It's too bad Shark couldn't have been a little more part of it, but we'll take it at this point. "24-hour post-game stream," yeah. Well, you got to think that Trendon will be too good to play next summer. But yeah, I think this year was like a good mix of guys who played every game. Obviously, we lost Sharp, and Greg Brown didn't play today, but we had just enough good players that played all the games. We didn't like sit anyone on purpose. Like say the Orlando Magic, they sit Banchero after 2 games, and I think the Thunder sit Chet their last game. So yeah, I think it was a good mix of having some guys who've been in the league last year, and then also guys we didn't rest anyone or sit them out. So Daniel G with a $5 donation. Who coached the Summer League? It was Hetzel was the coach for Summer League. Tough job, but at least after the first quarter seemed to do okay. Yeah, I mean, the defense was phenomenal. I think they were by far the best defense in Summer League, and another good defensive effort again today. They're interviewing Jabari on ESPN at least. Unfortunately, I can't hear what he's saying. Do they give the rings out now? Or they have to give them out now, right? It's going to be funny. They're so big. Gaudy. They all got shirts on that say Summer League champion. Let's go. Picture. That's a cool picture, man. Chris S. $5 donation. Thank you. Can our main roster defend this well under Chauncey? Knicks dropped 100 on every other team, and it's not like B-Will is any better on D than Dame. I mean, a lot of it's just summer league rosters, and it's a lot easier to shut down players that are trying to make a name for themselves and doing things like a lot of other teams don't play as teams, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think I was saying this earlier. I think it's a good sign that we're at least coaching well scheme wise. The team defense seems very in sync. The rotations look good. The switching and the schemes and stuff look good. So you hope that coaching, along with Chauncey having Chauncey having another year of experience, will all lead to us hopefully having a much better D. If we don't have a better defense next year, we're in a lot of trouble. And then thanks Nero012 for a $5 donation. Along the same lines, hopefully the main roster can play defense like this summer league team. It was fun to watch. It was very fun to watch. Keon's just a monster on the defensive end. Watford played pretty good defense. Jabari Walker obviously played good defense as well. Had the ring ceremony opening night. Oh no, they're getting them right now. They got the executive director handing out the trophy. What the heck is that trophy? That's a weird trophy, man. It looks like a basketball that's been flattened into a like tubular trophy. Once again, I can't hear anything. They announced Watford as MVP. Nice. Oh, hey, we got the sex bots back. Nice. The Knicks live stream is in shambles. 150 arguments about summer league adjustments. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's quite our Draymond Green, but he definitely, Trendon is, one of those guys who does it all, can handle the ball at his size. I think the main difference is he's got to become a similar defender to Draymond, whereas he could, guard 1 through 5 and be a monster on the help defense, stuff like that. Certainly a possibility as he gets older. But, yeah, I wouldn't quite put him in that category. What happened to GB3? Greg Brown was scratched due to an illness right before the game. Hopefully he's okay. But, yeah. I think they left him back at the hotel. I'll have to watch this later to hear the audio. But yeah, if you're just tuning in, thank you so much for watching. We have, without Greg tonight, instead of starting Jabari Walker, they end up starting Didi Louzada, who played almost 9 minutes, did not score, had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and a turnover. Just a complete non-factor this entire summer league. And just probably the one player you're dreading that has a guaranteed contract right now because, yeah, Didi, he gets a ring, I guess, right, Chris? Yeah. Just trying to catch the last little bit of this here. as they talking to Keon on my screen at least. I might be a little behind. Um, but yeah, Didi is just unfortunately he's got that guarantee contract. So all good ass is he on the team opening night? I'm afraid so. I mean, you can only dress 13, so as long as we don't have injuries, he'll definitely be inactive. I'm guessing Greg Brown will probably be the other inactive a lot. And of course, the 2A guys won't be suiting up for games because we go back to them not being able to play every game again, I think, this year. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to play at all, so it doesn't matter. It's not like Mario, in my opinion, because Mario actually had to play a little bit. Um, but yeah, it's a bummer that he's on our team still. And, he gets to start tonight. You're hoping maybe he just shows something to some team to where we wouldn't have to pay them a second round pick to dump his contract. But yeah, it's not. I don't think that's happening. So I think we'll just hold on to him until the trade deadline and then try to dump him with a second round pick or something, and try to duck the tax maybe. Unless we're really good, then we might pay the tax. But obviously we're hard capped, so we can't really do anything. So yeah, maybe if we have another trade, I still don't understand why he was a throw in to the Pelicans trade to begin with, but yeah. Do I think someone would take on Didi's contract if we attach Greg Brown? I don't know. Maybe the problem is this is why it's hard to dump players this time of the year, is because most teams are having to dump players or try to trade players right now. So there's teams with 16 to 19 guaranteed contracts, and it's fine until the end of training camp for those teams to have that many players on their roster, but come the end of training camp you have to pare your rosters down to 15. So the problem is there's also a handful of other teams trying to get teams that have an open roster spot to take on players like Didi, and so you're kind of in competition for roster spots more so than just someone having trade value, if that makes sense. So dumping a player right now is hard because you don't know how to make the roster work right, whereas at the trade deadline there might be some open spots because of other trades. So that's what I would look at. Like if there's a KD trade to the Suns or something and they give up like 4 players for him, then they obviously need to fill out the rest of the roster. So I would look for opportunities like that to maybe sneak him into part of those trades or whatever. So I think that's how they'd have to do it if they got rid of him. But yeah, I think they're going to be stuck with him this year. And I mean, they could cut him, but then that would make getting under the tax a lot more difficult. So I don't see that route happening either. So yeah, I might just play out the season and then just cut him. He does have 2 more years on his contract, but they're both fully non-guaranteed. So after the season, they could cut him and he'd be a free agent, and then we wouldn't have to deal with him anymore. But yeah, still doesn't make sense why he was part of that trade. But maybe they thought they saw something in him, but that was definitely a miscalculation there, and unfortunately, it's taken up a roster spot right now. All right. What's up, Tommy? Yeah, I agree. Randall Pink Floyd. I really like our young core right now. I feel like um, I've always wanted teams to do this. Like, you don't have to go either vets or young guys. Like, I wanted a team to have a really good mix of both, and I feel like those type of teams can make jumps. So hopefully, at some point, if we get a jump from from Nas, and we get contributions from guys like Trendon and Jabari, and then we see the Ant that we, or myself, is expecting him to be not necessarily a star, but near all-star level next year. Then you're talking about, wow, like, could we like sneak up there and compete? Maybe we're more ahead of schedule than they want to lead on. But yeah, I like it. And then Sharp, if you get anything from Sharp, that's a bonus as well this year, I believe. So yeah. Yeah, currently Brandon Williams is our only two-way contract, so that is our only ability to sign someone to the roster right now. Unfortunately, we can't just make DD a two-way. That would be nicer to do, but yeah. Yeah, Liam, Brandon Williams had a really good game today. By far his best game with the Summer League, and he actually made his free throws down the stretch, which is huge. Um, yeah, thought they made several mistakes in that Detroit game, and the first game of Summer League. I thought that was going to cost them playing in the championship, but they played really well and had just got lucky that no other teams went undefeated. So there was a bunch of teams tied, and they finished with a good point differential. But yeah, Half Daddy says our boys must be gassed. There's a good amount of air balls or very short three balls. Yeah, I mean, playing every other day. I know this game they had 2 days off, and their last game they had 2 days off. But being in Vegas for a couple of weeks and having to play a lot, you're practicing on the off days and working out and doing all that other stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff packed into it, just a couple weeks. Aaron asks, do I expect Trendon to be in the regular rotation? Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. If they believe in Trendon playing bigger than he is, I think they might start with him over Eubanks, or at least maybe matchup dependent wise, I guess. So I think both Eubanks and Trendon will get fair chance at being the backup center. Obviously, if other teams have like really big size, we probably can't play Trendon too much at center. But I think they'll at least give him a chance to prove one way or the other if he's able to do it. But yeah, like DJ Vega says, they played him at power forward a lot during Summer League. Now, Summer League's different than regular, but yeah, so I think he will get minutes, whether it's at the backup 4 or the backup 5. I think he'll maybe play a little bit of both. Small ball lineups will be the 5. Bigger lineups, or smaller lineups, or bigger lineups, yeah, they'll play the 4. I think he's capable of playing either position. I don't like him at center as much. But yeah, I think he definitely will earn some rotation minutes. Thank you, Famished Yoshi, for the $2 donation. Before I read that off, let me just answer. Sling King has been Sing King has been asking this a lot in chat. When I expect Sharp to be back. Everything I'm hearing is that it's just a minor tear and they're being super cautious. It could change. I mean, we know they're very secretive about some of these injuries, and all of a sudden it turns into Zach Collins being out for 6 months or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's as simple as they make it seem like it is, I think he could be back, before training camp. So I think he'll be fine by then. I would be surprised if he's having trouble with it still, 2 months from now. So, I think we're good there. It'll be almost 3 months since the injury. My training camp starts in September. So, yeah. Dame is live with Trendon and Ant on IG. Yeah. Jake back and asks why has no one talked about Jabari back at 5 instead of Trendon? Because Jabari's more of a 3-4 than a 4-5. I think he could play a little bit in small lineups, but I mean he's only like 6'6", 6'7" without shoes, so and he doesn't have. I mean he's got decent length, but not like center type length. Whereas Watford has is about the same height, but he's got a lot bigger wingspan and standing reach and stuff. So yeah, I'm I don't think Jabari is really a 5. I don't really see him playing much 5, other than the fact that he can rebound. He's not 3 inches taller than Trendon, because Trendon he's 6'6", so that would mean Trendon's 6'3". I don't think that's true. Zach the Potato says the true MVP is Garza. He showed the Pistons. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, so back to famous Yoshi's $2 donation. What are your biggest takeaways from this? 1, we found a rotational player in Jabari Walker. 2, Trendon Watford looks better. 3, Keon Johnson looks better. So that's pretty much my main takeaways. The problem with Keon will always be that, we signed Gary Payton. He's just got no path to playing this year, so I don't really know. I don't really know how to get him into the rotation, even if he's showing out, because he's not going to beat out Hart. He's not going to beat out Gary Payton, who they just signed. He's not going to beat out Ant or Dame, obviously, and then you got Sharp now, and I don't see a path for him playing, no matter how good he is, unless there's injuries. So unfortunately for him, he's just positionally blocked. It's not a knock on him or anything. This is what we've been saying since the trade for him, is that it just doesn't make sense how he fits in on the roster. But that being said, I mean, he looked really, really good. He didn't have the best shooting game today, I don't think. Let me see. Let me check what his final numbers were. Yeah, it was 1 for 6 and 0 for 4 from 3. So he struggled. This was by far his worst game of Summer League, but he played great defense. And they were actually playing him in the first half of this game like he was our best player, which is probably what they should be. But yeah, so yeah, they had him. They were not going to let Keon beat us in the first quarter of this game. They were selling out to stop him up top, and Keon kind of struggled for that. He forced a couple shots in the first half, missed a couple good looks in the second half. But overall, I don't think you can say anything bad about Keon this summer. He's shown improvements in just a few months. You always like to see that with young players. For sure, in my mind, means they have a good work ethic, and yeah, Reese says probably the most attention he'll receive in the NBA ever. I completely agree. Yeah, it's going to be maybe further down in his career, but as we saw last year in the tanking Blazer days, there wasn't a lot of times where most of our guys got a ton of defensive attention. So yeah. Yeah, Keon did a great job. Grimes looked amazing in the Summer League as well, and I thought he did a really good job on him today. Yeah, so really positive note there. And, I mean, it kind of sucks because I feel like Keon, part of the reason why he improved so much is because he got minutes to learn what he needed to work on. And that's going to be the problem moving forward is can he keep improving without getting those minutes? And then you combine that with the fact that we don't have a G League team. So it's not like we have a coaching staff that we can, uh, go down. We can send him to the G League and be like, hey, I want you to work on with Keon on this. The only way we can send players down to the G League is to go to another team. And the other team's coaching staffs aren't going to be caring about Keon's development. Now, we might be able to get him some minutes on the floor. That's a different story, but they're not going to work with him specifically on the stuff that our coaching staff wants him to work on. So that's part of the problem with not having a G League team and being, I think, one of only two teams, or if not the only team that doesn't have a G League team. I think we need to address that, and you could get guys like Sharp and Greg Brown and Keon a ton of minutes down there. But unfortunately, until that situation changes, there's just nothing we can do about that. But yeah, as far as what I'm hearing though from the Blazers, they love Keon and they don't have any plans to trade him. Now, if a good player becomes available and the other team really wants Keon and he has some value in a trade, or if someone gives them an offer that they can't refuse, I mean, obviously, I think they would move him in that case if it helps our team get better. But as of right now, I don't think they have any plans to trade him. But yeah, so his improvement was great, and but I mean, the story of Summer League was Jabari Walker, in my opinion. We knew Trendon had some skills. We knew Keon, if he started figuring out his offensive game a little bit, would be a decent player. We knew he was good defensively already, but getting a player like Jabari Walker playing this well with the second to last pick in the draft. And I mean, everyone who watches this show, if you're new here, I absolutely love Jabari Walker. I will not shy away from it. And I think he was an absolute steal. I've been saying it since the draft. I said he's a first round talent before the draft. This guy is the real deal. It's one of those players where I will forever not understand why he was not rated higher in the draft. And I know Torrey felt similarly with him as a high floor guy. And that's got to be the only reason why he fell. Teams take chances on potential versus, high floor guys. But yeah, I love his attitude. And then you hear that him say what his dad instilled in him about being okay, embracing being a role player. There's nothing wrong with that. You can make a long career and earn a ton of money being a role player. And it doesn't mean you have to only be a role player. You can still be really good or an all-star level player as a role player, but there's nothing wrong with that. And it seems like a lot of players think that's a negative connotation. So just watching his game, and like Andrew says, he literally does everything on the court, combined with having that attitude that it's okay to be that type of player and to not come in and be a star. And that's I think that's going to be really important for his development, is just the fact that when he gets on the court, he's not going to be trying to isolate players and go one-on-one and throwing up crazy stupid shots and things like that. He's going to crash the boards and do and hustle and do all that stuff. So so I'm just stoked that we drafted him. Part of my reaction on the stream on the draft stream was that I was so afraid we were just going to pass on him and go for potential or an international stash guy or whatever. And so I was so happy that they drafted him. Now, people giving Mike Schmitz all the credit, need to realize that Chauncey went to Colorado, same school, so he probably knew all about him as well. And also Cronin's from the Colorado area, so he's probably, heard lots of things about him too. The sex bots are back. So yeah, I'm just really excited. One of the things that you have to get lucky with is hitting on a second round pick, or just some sort of thing where you don't use an asset. Like, for example, the Utah Jazz trade. They actually made two trades around the same time, or one was in 2013, the other was in 2017. But so 2013, they make a trade to get the 27th pick for Rudy Gobert, and you have him turn into like an all defensive player. And then in 2017, they trade the 24th pick and Trey Lyles to move up to 13 and get Donovan Mitchell. So those two things, I mean, if you get players like that and I'm not saying that Jabari Walker is going to be those guys, but then you have like Draymond Green going to the second round of the Warriors, and Nikola Jokic going to the Nuggets with I think it was like the 41st pick or something in the second round. So you get these players that turn into rotational players or really good players, and you basically gave up nothing or wasted a second round pick on them. So and then the difference is, so what did Minnesota do? They trade like 5 players and a bunch of draft picks. Now, like, it might be a good move for them, but they got the same player that Utah got for just trading. I forget what they traded for that. I think I think at the time Golden State needed cap space or something, so they basically gave him the 27th pick to take on some contracts, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so so that Jokic pick definitely earned someone a lot of money. And that Connolly, who's now with Minnesota, which is funny to tie that all together. But yeah, so the Blazers needed to make some moves this summer since they didn't have a ton of assets, to where they were improving their roster without giving up a ton to do so. And they got really lucky with Jeremy Grant basically choosing Portland over a lot of other teams. And then they got, get lucky maybe with the Jabari Walker pick. And all of a sudden you got 2 players that you gave up very, very, very little to acquire. And then it bolsters your rosters. Mike Conley, I'm talking about Tim Connolly. He's a front office president of the Minnesota Timberwolves now, not Mike Conley. Let me just see if there's. Scrolling back a little bit to see if I missed anything. Alton Lee says Watford simply helps win games. Knicks were going to come back if Watford don't come back in and stabilize the game. And yeah, they actually asked Hetzel about that too. And he mentioned Watford specifically. I think he also mentioned Brandon Williams as guys who help just calm things down in timeouts and the huddle and in the game action. So that's a very good, underrated characteristic or thing to have in a player. Crime Stopper, you asked about the defense. I talked about it a couple times earlier. If you want to go back, could I see us being at least in 11 to 15 range in defense this season? Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's the goal. Just get into that top half. If you can get closer to 11 than 15, I think we'd really have something. But I don't see any reason why. I mean, you look at the teams, or like some of the teams in the teens in terms of defensive rating and stuff, and they don't really have that good of personnel. They just have really good coaching and schemes, and they all play hard and want to compete on the defensive end. So I don't think it's a matter of this team can't get that high. I think it's just a matter of hopefully this coaching staff is as good as we're hoping it'll be, and that I think Dame being in the best physical condition he's been in the last few years will help out a lot, and Ant I think will want to be better on the defensive end as well. And like I said earlier, I think a lot of times um, getting some guys like Gary Payton and Josh Hart and stuff who just get after it on defense, that stuff wears off on the other players, and I think it'll just having guys like that will improve the defense a little bit. So I think if you just put all those things together, I don't really see how this defense can't be at least middle of the pack. And we had a middle of the pack defense with Nurkic. We had a top 10 defense with Nurkic. Uh, we've had similar. I don't think the personnel on those teams was necessarily much better. Now, like, we had a backups in like Zach Collins and Ed Davis and stuff like that, but um, I don't think it's like that much different than our personnel right now. Um, so how are we feeling about the Blazers winning the championship, everyone? Who's going to the parade? Hey, Kyle Parker, how you doing? Yep, the Blazers won. What's up, Luis Nunez? Kyle Alexander for the second two-way. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Just try to develop a center. Think maybe you wait because I don't think we're really in jeopardy of him signing with another team. But I think yeah, I maybe wait just a little bit to see how some of these guaranteed contracts shake out. Maybe you get a little better player. Like AJ says, wait for the Thunder or Rockets to potentially cut someone that you could pick up on a two-way. So I think I would do that before actually signing Kyle Alexander. But I mean, if they do, I don't think that's a problem. Now, if they sign someone like Colby Ross, not that I necessarily hate him as a player, I just I question why we have two like shorter point guards on our roster right now. So uh, hope I'm hoping we don't sign a point guard like that. I still think we need to address the size up front, and especially just for practice, man. And if we lose Nurkic or even Eubanks, for a few games, or knock on wood, a few weeks or months, like we're in a lot of trouble, I think, depth wise. So I think we just need the best big possible. Now, I don't know if Kyle Alexander is quite ready to play in NBA action, but he does have good size. And yeah, but yeah. Zach Potato says you got Garza to save you guys. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did end up signing Luka Garza, but hopefully not. But yeah, if Nurk goes down for an extended period of time, I just don't see how this team can stay afloat long enough the way it's set up. We might need to make some sort of move to get him back or get some depth there. If that happens, maybe that's their plan. Instead of making that move now, you wait till you have to do it. But yeah, we're in a lot of trouble, I think, if Nurk goes down. Yeah, I agree, Liam. He says that Alexander looked very mobile for his size, just skill wise isn't ideal. Yeah, I mean sometimes though you can shape that into like at least a good defensive rim running center, and I think that's what we need. But yeah, Trevin, how could you not even consider that happening? That was like the most obvious thing ever. Yeah. And for those asking, yeah, Greg Brown was late scratch right before tip off due to being sick, and Torrey was a scratch today as well from also being sick. So I hope both of you, Greg and Torrey, get better soon. Double E says GP2 Keon uh, Nash. I don't know who Nash is. Jabari and Watford as a defensive minded second unit. Do you mean Hart instead of Nash? But yeah, so, or Nas. Maybe you just put an extra H. Yeah, I'm excited, yeah, about the possibilities of having defensive lineups out there. Um, so yeah, uh, I think that's a good thing. I don't think that'll be our second unit. I think have uh, we'll have one of Anthony and Dame in the lineup at all times. So yeah, I think yeah, I think that lineup. I just don't see them playing Keon. I think it'll be Ant or Dame in with those guys. Now, if we need like a defensive stop and we have Anthony and Dame and players like that in the lineup, I'm going to question the coaching staff on that. But yeah, yeah, we have Justice Winslow as well. So yeah, we have all kinds of lineups we can throw out there in a defensive scheme or a defensive situation where we're up, up three. The other team has the ball out of a timeout. You put in your defensive lineup or whatever. If we have our offensive lineup out there, that's going to be very questionable. Something I always question Stotts on, but to his defense, we didn't really have a lot of players to have a defensive lineup out there. So yeah. CJ the Goat asked, "Do you think Hart should start?" It's a tough question. I mean, someone has to start at the three, and I like his rebounding ability, considering Grant isn't a great rebounder. Um, so I wouldn't mind it, but I it kind of depends on if Sharp plays at all or if he like more of a 2 or a 3 in their eyes, because I don't know, I feel like our lineups are better if he comes off the bench, even though he's kind of stuck in that spot where he's maybe a little too good to be a bench player, but he's not quite good enough to be a full time starter, or big enough, I guess, not good enough to be the full time starter at the three. So I don't know what they're gonna do at the three. Yeah, uh, like I said earlier, I think they're pretty locked into Nas getting the first crack at it. Um, I thought maybe Nas would have to be the backup four, but now that you have Trendon and Jabari both capable of playing minutes there, I don't think we really have to worry about that. So yeah, I think I agree with Luis that we need to play. I think Ant and Hart as the backup um, guards will be nice. And yeah, Chris, yeah, didn't even mention Winslow there. I don't know what they're gonna do, man. They have, I mean, assuming Keon doesn't play and Greg Brown and Didi, you basically have 12 players that they all think can play. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with those, how they're gonna play 12 players or what they're gonna do, but yeah, it's gonna be weird. A BB says, I thought Nas was having a Simons like breakthrough prior to getting hurt last year. Yeah, he was playing really well. Problem is, he's now been injured a few times. Like, hopefully, it's just fluke things and not a case where he's going to be, in and out of the lineups a lot. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting how Chauncey divvies up the playing time, because I don't know if it's going to be a case where early on in the season he just tries to play 11 or 12 players, and then like tries to make that work, and just everyone just has to like earn their minutes on the court, and if you're not good in your first stint, then you don't get in the second half or what. But I mean, we just have way too many rotational players. Not necessarily in my eyes, but like from everything they're saying, I don't see them like completely benching a guy like Winslow and not letting him even play at all. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, man. Michael V asks a question: if we play defense as well in the regular season as we did in the summer league, who does the credit go to, Joe or Chauncey? Um, I don't think it has to go to either one or the other. I think both could be the correct answer. I mean, you need guys. I mean, what did we hear about every player that came in? Oh, he's a Chauncey guy. He's a Chauncey guy, right? So I think that's more of a case where um, we're just going to be playing. I think we're going to be playing better defense, but it's because we have players that fit Chauncey's style. So you got to give Cronin credit for bringing in those guys, and then you got to get, if it works, you have to give Chauncey credit for recognizing that those are the type of guys that would work in the system he wants to play. So I think the credit would go to both. I don't think it's like necessarily one or the other, but it's nice if you have a situation where the players are working out and the coach is happy because he's getting players that fit his style. I think that will work well for the tandem of Joe Cronin and Chauncey Billups in the future. Now, Cronin still has to, negotiate trades and stuff like that and get the best value for assets and not make some of the missteps he made at the trade deadline last year. But as long as they're in step and also doing, I mean, you got to factor in Dame as well. Like you have to do stuff that Dame wants. So, like if Grant is a really good defender and Gary Payton's a really good defender, you also have to give a little bit of credit to Dame for wanting those guys too. Liam asks, would you feel confident with Damon Simons being off the court at the same time, maybe to make more room for other players? I don't feel confident in it because I don't think anyone else on our roster is an NBA level point guard. Now, some of them can handle the ball. Obviously, Hart, Winslow, players like that. Keon, if he keeps developing his ball handling. I guess we don't know about Sharp yet, but I would assume rookie year he wouldn't be good at that. So I think the problem is we're relying on those two guys to be our main ball handlers. So I don't like any situation where one of the two isn't on the floor outside of those defensive situations where we need a defensive lineup. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I don't know, because you think Dame's gonna play. I mean, it'd be nice if he only had to play like 34 minutes, and you think Anthony's gonna get 32 to 36 minutes as well. He seemed like a guy who was more than capable of playing big minutes. So when you think about a game only being 48 minutes, I mean, why would you play those two together all the time? Like, especially when you have a good defensive guard like Hart off the bench. Um, so I think it's a case where staggering them, I prefer it because it keeps the ball handler on the floor at all times, and also you could put better defenses around them where only one of them's on the court for several minutes, if that makes sense. So if you have them both off the court, yeah, our defense might be better, but then you're missing the offense. And then when they're both in the game together, you're always going to have to compensate for that with the defensive front court. So I don't know. I prefer to stagger them so it's only one of them on the court for several minutes, and then also that we have a ball handler. Double E, we are not going to cut Didi most likely because we are right around the tax line and we are hard capped. He has a guaranteed contract, so if we cut him, that money stays on our books the entire season. So it's a situation where I don't think we're going to just cut Didi and sign another big man. Hi, Mom. Says, Brandon Williams played well. Yes, he did. Very good game. First good game of the Summer League, I feel like. Luis says the team's depth is a good problem to have. Maybe this would set us up for a consolidation trade to upgrade our team at the trade deadline. Yeah, well, I agree that depth is a good problem to have. The problem is a consolidation trade is really tricky with the hard cap set up the way it is. What's up, Carson? Yes, we are Summer League champions. We have a ring now. All that stuff. So, yeah. But, yeah, it's... Lost my train of thought. So, say we traded... like, Keon, Didi, mix all these players. Like, let's just say the team really wanted Trendon. We got a really good player back or something. So we traded like 3 or 4 for one player. All those players are making close to the minimum or the minimum. And then, so not only do we traded like 4 for 1, then we also have to then add the roster spots back. So just staying under the hard cap, it just makes it tricky, and that's why I was really bummed out about getting hard cap because like you see all these people freaking out because Kevin Durant's in town yesterday, right? He's at Parkrose High School, and oh my goodness, that's not even close to Nike. That means he's coming here. They don't realize that that he's been here before at that Pro-Am. He's friends with Mike James, who's from Portland. That's the only reason he's here. It's nothing to read into trade-wise. But, because of the hard cap and the Dame extension and things like that, it is impossible for the Blazers to trade for Kevin Durant for at least the next 50 days. Or I guess 49 now. So for the next 49 days, if Brooklyn called us and said, you know what? Sean Marks is on the phone. He's like, listen, Joe, I hate all these other teams. Toronto's offering me crap. Phoenix is offering me crap. Philly's offering me crap. I want to give you Kevin Durant just to spite these other teams. Screw all them. Merry Christmas. Like, here you go. Here is Kevin Durant. I will take whatever you want back. Doesn't matter. I just want you to have him. The Blazers could not do the trade. They would be like, sorry, we can't. And that sucks. It sucks. It's probably not going to happen, so it's not like changing anything, or like it doesn't matter in the long run, I guess. But like we physically, it's impossible for the Blazers to trade for Kevin Durant. And even after those 49 days, when Jeremy Grant's contract is able to be combined with other contracts and we can maybe match Kevin Durant, um, there's it's still complicated with the hard cap because we're talking about having to add, like I just talked about with other trades, having to add minimum contracts to the roster. So you still have to trade out enough salary to get below the hard cap line enough to still add the rest of your roster out. So, and then at this point, like who's left to add to the roster and that stuff. I mean, I would still do it. It's a good problem to have and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be worried about it. But I think looking forward, looking forward, I think we just gotta realize that those. I don't think we're making any more trades. Like Jared asked, like what's predictions on trades, pertaining to the Blazers. I know they're constantly looking for trades. It's not like they've just closed it off. But from what I've heard, they are. This is it. There might be a small trade between now and the end of this off season, but this is pretty much the roster outside of a small move. I don't think there's going to be any kind of big moves. Now, does that change if there's a big Kevin Durant trade and we could possibly get a Mikal Bridges or an OG Anunoby or someone like that becomes available, that wasn't available, or the original team's asking price was too high? Yeah, of course, that it could always change. But the problem is we're still going to have trouble matching salary because of the hard cap. Now, OG is a little easier to match because I think he makes like 17 or 18 million, but Mikal Bridges makes 21 million, so you'd have to include like Hart, Winslow, and Nas, which I think they would. It just makes things complicated. WES, can't we cut Didi and stretch his contract over 3 years? We could do that, but it still counts against the cap. So you're still in a situation where you wouldn't be able to clear his salary fully, and that is the difference between them possibly being under the tax and not. If they did that, there's almost no way for them to get under the tax line this year. So I don't see any way they would do that, and a lot of teams don't do that unless they have someone to sign for sure. Let's say we cut him. Like, what are we gonna do? There's not a lot out there to sign anyway at this point. Yeah, Didi's contract after this season can be he can be waived, and we don't owe him any more money. So, like I said, they'll probably just wait till the deadline or close to the deadline. Probably have to attach a second round pick in cash just for a team to take him on for the rest of the year, a la what OKC does with like half the league, taking on players for picks. So they're going to have to do something like that. But yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Double tampering for Hartenstein and Brunson. Yeah, well, I guess the Knicks are looking into the Brunson thing. Now, they tried to be slick about it and say, oh, no, he hasn't agreed yet. And then it was like several hours later when they agreed to the contract. But yeah, I don't think they were fooling anyone. And a lot of those contracts that weren't for players on your own team, you have to question why they signed like, a minute into free agency or before. Some of those were reported a few minutes before they were even allowed to be reported. So be interesting to see what the league does. I think they should have dropped the hammer on Miami and Chicago last year, I felt like they should have stripped a first round pick from both of them. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. But I think the NBA, if they really care about it now, it could be that they don't care at all. But if they really care about it, they need to drop the hammer and start really penalizing these teams. Now, a couple years ago, they had instituted new tampering rules, and that does say that they can start taking away first round picks, heavily fining teams, and also it could lead to suspensions for front office personnel. Now, I don't know how you could necessarily suspend a front office personnel, because he could just talk to the person who takes over for him, privately, and still run the team behind the scenes. But I think they need to start coming down on that a lot harder if they want to continue, or if they want to try and end the tampering situations. Colin Sexton is still interesting. I think a lot of teams could use him. I don't like him back on the Cavs, but I'd understand if the Cavs did sign him, and then if they weren't getting anything in like potential sign and trades for him. So I would just re-sign him and then try to ship him later in the season by the deadline. But yeah, I don't like his fit with Garland, so I'm hoping they get something for him for Alex Wolf's sake. Whether that be like a future first or something. I don't think you have to get too much for him, but I wouldn't. I don't think there were some rumors of Mike Conley in Utah. Like, that doesn't really make sense to me unless you're getting picks along with that. But I don't know why Danny Ainge in Utah would give up picks in that situation either. So you re-signed Rubio. I don't know why you would then bring on Conley too. But yeah. Carson says he's stoked for this team regardless of record. It'll be a fun season. I can feel it. Hope you're right, man. Definitely got a lot of guys that feel good rooting for. Obviously, Gary Payton went to Oregon State and is known around these parts. I mean, he's a good guy, and all the players that are back from the team last year are all good guys. Jabari Walker seems like a great guy. So yeah, you love the culture of the team. As evidenced today, the guys that played in Summer League that are on the roster seem to have a lot of youthful exuberance and really care a lot. So, yeah. JPS, should Wiz fans be concerned with Johnny Davis's poor play? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I think he's fine. I think Summer League's weird for guards who are not necessarily elite, like one-on-one type players. So, yeah, I think it'll be okay. Yeah, Drew Eubanks also went to Oregon State, so he's from Portland as well. Tommy, that's a great question, but I don't really have. I can't really go through all that right now. I'm not. I'll get back to you on that one. How about that? Maybe tomorrow night. I'll let you know a couple guys I'm eyeing from other teams that might get cut. I'm always surprised too. Like, there's always a couple players that I'm like, wait, why would they cut him? And that might be the case with OKC this year. Hey Carter, how you doing, man? Um, yeah. So let's just go through the box score tonight. Trendon was 7 for 15, played 27 minutes, 3 of 6 from three. Man, he hit some big threes in this game. Love to see him hitting those threes. If he can become just like a 35% 3-point shooter, it'll open up his drive so much more to get to the basket, and it'll really go a long way. Um, when Draymond took that huge jump, he was hitting threes, and the defense had to come out on him. Yeah, he did have an air ball, of course, too, but I'll take it. You can airball one if you make 3 out of 6 if you're a guy like Trendon, right? So you got to take some good with the bad, but yeah. All right, but yeah, he had a good game. Also 7 rebounds, a couple assists, 3 steals. Also had 3 turnovers, but most of those were almost all of our turnovers. We had 14 total. 9 of them were in the first quarter, so we only had 5 turnovers the last 3 quarters. So much like every game this year, we tightened up and got took better control of the ball after the first quarter was looking not promising. But yeah, so good to see them take care of the ball after that atrocious first quarter with the 9 turnovers. We mentioned Didi already. Don't know why he's even playing at this point. 0 for 1, did nothing. You can't even really play him right now in Summer League, and let alone NBA games. So, very, very interesting to see what happens with him moving forward. Keon, we mentioned too, 30 minutes, 1 for 6 from the field, only had 2 points. Just a rough shooting game for him, but his main focus was guarding one of the best players in the Summer League, and that's Quentin Grimes. And he did a great job doing the best he could on him. Grimes ended up 2 for 11 for 3. So, you'll take that all day. And most of that was with Keon guarding him. So, great job there. He did get to the line 10 times and finish with 19 points. But you'll take him if you told me that Grimes took 16 shots and only had 19 points. I'd tell you we won pretty comfortably. So, good overall. Summer League for Keon despite the poor shooting tonight, and looking forward to seeing his improvements between now and training camp. Brandon Williams, best game of the Summer League, 5 of 9, made a couple threes finally, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 5 assists to go along. There was a point in the I forget if it was the second quarter, I think, where it was the second quarter where him and Trendon were playing like a side pick and roll, dribble handoff. Seemed like several possessions in a row. And the Knicks were just completely baffled by it. And good to see a nice 2-man game from them. The only other starter we haven't mentioned is Luka Garza. He was 2 for 4, played almost 13 minutes. But yeah, 6 points, 3 rebounds. Didn't really do much else. Had 1 block. I don't think he's good enough yet. Would it shock me if they signed him to the 2A? No, but I really hope that's not their answer. The guy of the Summer League, Jabari Walker, 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line, 11 rebounds to go along with his 14 points. Had a couple of nice passes too, with 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Also had 2 turnovers, but just another great all-around game from Jabari. Played 27 minutes. That guy had such a good Summer League, and it's so promising to see him play. And for all those people who say, oh, it's just Summer League, you can't really read too much into it, I think you absolutely can with some of them, like just the way they got their points. And a perfect example of that is late in this game, New York's trying to make a comeback. We miss a three. Jabari grabs a rebound in between two Knicks and puts it back in, and that kind of sealed the game at the time. And just good effort plays like that translate no matter what league you're playing in. And he just, I mean, he's rebounded at every level. He was one of the best, if not the best, rebounder in the Pac 12 last year, and he was a forward. Um, and like nationally, his as a forward, he's an elite rebounder. And Chris S asked earlier if like I was surprised by some of his passing. I mean, obviously, like a behind the back no look pass on a fast break. I mean, that's surprising to see, but like I've mentioned it several times that I think he does have some hidden playmaking potential. And when I watched Colorado games, I felt like he just didn't really have players to pass to or players that knew how to move off ball or good shooters to kick out to. So, um, yeah, I felt like that was absolutely something that maybe would look better at an NBA level. But yeah, he's always in control. He doesn't try to do more than he's capable of, and I really like his game a lot. And also, I'm trying. I'm gonna try. I don't know if he will, but so I followed his dad Samaki on Twitter, and he followed me back, and so I'm gonna try to set up an interview with him. I don't know if he'll go for it, but we'll try. We'll see if it happens. Yeah, he has mentioned in the past that he was a point guard when he was younger, and then grew a little bit. So yeah, hopefully he has some of that hidden skills. But man, it would be cool to interview Samaki because well, one, he played in the NBA, so uh, that would always be cool to have a former NBA player on the show. But just I'd like to pick his brain on like what like why he instilled that mindset into Jabari, and just like what goes along with that. Is it because he was that type of player as well? So yeah, former NBA champion. Yeah, so it'd just be really interesting to pick his brain about how he, um, you know, what the process was behind setting up those values for Jabari. What's up, Eric Olson? How you doing? Just said his dad celebrate the clip of me celebrating. I'm assuming he probably saw that. That's probably why he followed me back, but I don't know. But yeah, so I'm gonna effort that over the coming weeks. Hopefully, he does that. If nothing, maybe he'll agree to. Maybe I could just turn it into an article if he doesn't want to come on the show. Maybe I could just ask him some questions and put it into an article form. But yeah, I agree, Chris. Jabari just seems so level-headed, and yeah, great to have. Um, give me just a second. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. At work right now, so having to do the stream solo, but had to had to deal with some closing stuff here at the store. But yeah, just fits right in with any team Jabari does, and I just feel like we found a real gem in him. All right, did anyone else contribute much? Kyle Alexander was 4 for 6, had some nice finishes in the lane, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 blocks. Just a real solid athlete, good length and stuff like that. So I, if we do give our 2-way to one of the bigs, I hope it's him over Luka. But like I said, I'd probably wait a little bit. And then, Craig Randall, George King each hit a 3, but both were 1 for 4. Didn't really do a whole lot else other than that. Kobe Ross was 2 for 4, including 2 for 3 from 3. Also had 4 assists. But yeah, it was pretty much just the Trendon, Brandon Williams, and Jabari show today. And yep, they all helped us bring home a chip. So I'm along with the $5 donation. I want my chips with the dip. I think we got our backup bigs with Watford and Walker. Yep, I think we can feel very comfortable about those two contributing. And I think the only problem with the backup big with Watford, I still think he's a little undersized to play the 5 long term. But yeah, in spot minutes, I think he'll be fine, like he did last year. But ultimately, I think you want him as more of a 4 than a 5. But that would be the only thing I would say, kind of being against those guys being our backup bigs. But yeah, he's certainly capable of doing so. All right, so does anyone else have any other questions? Go run around, go streaking or something, and celebrate the championship. Go don't turn over any cars or anything, but go storm the streets. Rahi asked, do you think if Jabari slims down a bit, he could play the 3, or do you think he's strictly a 4? I think he's capable of being a 3-4 type player. I think he definitely could play some 3, but I think I put him in the same categories like Jeremy Grant and Tobias Harris, those kind of guys where, I mean, they played a lot of 3 early on in their careers, but ultimately I think they're more of a 4. So I'd probably say he's more of a 4, but I don't think you can say like you can't play 3 or anything. So hopefully you can play both. But yeah. What's up, Daniel G? Says can't run, too sore. I'm right there with you. I could barely walk today. So I played basketball with Daniel and Connor and Jackson and Smog and stuff from the channel also showed up, and also a few people that don't watch the channel but knew me from Twitter. So that was fun, and I said this earlier, but in case anyone else is here, if you're interested in meeting up and playing some hoops or something this summer, just let me know. Tori's just not feeling well today, so that's why he's gone. Or maybe he just used that as an excuse to go. Maybe he's out causing some damage, burning some couches in celebration of the championship. Miz asked, is Jabari Walker the steal of the draft? Or is he a double-double guy in the league? I don't know. It's tough to average 10 rebounds as a forward. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's quite a double-double guy, but I mean, if you're a small forward, power forward type player, and you're averaging like 8 rebounds a game, that's really good. So I I don't think that's like a knock on him if he's not a double-double guy. I mean, it's certainly possible. He's definitely got a better chance at it than Jeremy Grant does because he doesn't rebound very much. But yeah, I think yeah, I mean, if you look at his like per 36 numbers at the end of the season, it'll probably be close to that because I think he does space the floor well and rebound well. But overall, I don't really see that happening in terms of like just being one of the like a 10 rebound a game player. But yeah, you never know. What's the best small ball big lineup we can throw out there using forwards and wings only, along with Dame and Ant? Well, our best big lineup would probably be with. I mean, it's looking like maybe Jabari and Jeremy Grant with Nurk, um, and then our best smaller lineup would probably be like Hart and Gary Payton with Watford at the five, or maybe even Jeremy Grant at the five, even though the rebounding would be really bad in that situation. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting that we can play um, multiple different styles and yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about any of that stuff. I I'm more worried about what happens if there's an injury to Nurk because I just don't see how we replace his role in the lineup right now with the players we have, despite having depth at pretty much every other position. Yeah, I agree that he'll be an immediate contributor, and rebounding is a thing that you can contribute whether you're a rookie or a 10-year vet. So as long as he's making sure to box out, he's got a really good instinct for going for the ball and knowing where the ball's going to come off the rim and things like that, which is a lot of the battle when becoming a good rebounder is just understanding when someone shoots from a certain angle or something where the ball is going to come off the rim if it misses most of the time. That doesn't always work that way, but like certain shots there it's more common for a rebound to go to certain areas. So that's one thing that makes a lot of the really good rebounders, they understand those kind of angles and where to position yourself to get the best chance at rebounds. But I really like the way he dives for offensive rebounds. If he's if he doesn't get the shot as soon as he sees the shot up, he kind of goes in between defenders and attacks the offensive rebounds really well. In terms of how many games I think it'll take him to crack the rotation, I mean, if we're being fair, I think he's probably considered to be in the rotation right away. But I mean, we all know that in this league, it's hard for a second round rookie unless you're just really amazing, which is possible in Jabari's case. But I think it's going to be really hard for him to crack major minutes or rotational minutes outside of spot minutes. Like early in the season, as disappointed I am to say that out loud, I just think it's tough to get to the point where you're comfortable giving someone minutes right away that wasn't like a top pick or anything like that. Like Dame is the only player in recent memory that came in and right away from game one was in the rotation. Now, in 2017, 2018, Zach Collins, despite everyone saying he was years away from contributing, did come in and was a factor. Not a huge factor, but he was a factor his rookie year. Did earn some playing time, stuff like that. But yeah, so I think that he will be fine and be part of that part of the rotation eventually. I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that they'll just give him minutes over some of the vets we have right now. Ms. asks, I'm a little behind on this question. Do you think Keon makes the team, or do you think he's a good trade piece? I think they're. I did talk about that earlier. Yeah, he's. I think they're going to keep him. Obviously, if they get an offer they can't refuse, or if he is needed to match salary in another trade, they have to include him. I don't think they would hesitate to do that, but I don't think they're like actively shopping him for a big man or something like some people are expecting. I think they are comfortable with him being on the team and they like his development and want to keep developing him. Um, yeah, I wouldn't have mind Dominic Barlow, but I'm really glad we took took Jabari. I mean, Barlow still has some potential, and we could have. I wish we would have had the foresight to know that Jabari would have made the 15-man roster, so we could have signed another two-way. So that would have been awesome if we got two of those guys, because there was only one more pick after us, and it was Hugo Besson, who was an international player. So we could have potentially signed a two-way to any player, but I think initially they thought Jabari was going to be on a two-way this year and not the main roster. But he played so well, they had pretty much give him a guaranteed contract. But yeah, we'll see what they do with the other spot. That's pretty much the only thing that they'll have to do the rest of this offseason. Would I have picked anyone available over Jabari in hindsight? Heck no, man. Not even in hindsight. Like I said at the time I wanted Jabari, and I still would have taken Jabari. Yeah, there was no one. I mean, yeah, I would have been fine with a couple other players, but I for sure wanted Jabari. No, we won a ring without Shaden Sharp. Yep, it's unfortunate. Would have been really cool to see him play, but I mean, who knows? Maybe we don't win the ring. But yeah. Um, yep. So, I think that's going to do it for the stream. Thank you to everyone who watched. Really appreciate all of you for hanging out. Um, sure, Blazers Junior. I'll be your wingman. Um, but yeah, it's been an exciting day in Trailblazers history. We are Summer League champions yet again. Um, we uh, we did it. We dominated, and yeah, I mean, jokes aside, it's cool that these guys got it done. They played really well, especially on the defensive end, and proud of them. And it was really cool to see them all be as excited to win a championship um, as you could expect in this situation. They didn't obviously take it lightly or anything like that. So it was a really fun game. As Daniel says in chat, scrappy team. Yeah, just they got after it on the defensive end and won games with their defensive effort and hustle and stuff like that. And I mean, that's all you can ask for with young players, is to show that grit and hustle and stuff like that. And they got the job done and are Summer League champions. So congrats to the summer Portland Trailblazers, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your weekend. We'll be live again tomorrow night on the Monday night version of Blazers Uprise Live right here on this channel. So yeah, we'll be here tomorrow night. Don't know what we're necessarily going to be talking about, so probably won't be a super long stream or anything like that. But for the rest of the off season, we'll be going back to just our Monday, Thursday night shows on this channel, and then look forward to Tori's. Tori will always be dropping videos on the main channel, and yeah, appreciate all of you in our community for the support and for watching, and I hope everyone has a good day. as Tori likes to say, peace out, go Blazers.